Hello, everyone. It's Jeremy again. Introduced myself last time. Went over my story and how things have fallen in my life, and how I'm kind of making a new start here at 38, trying to get into the speaking game. So, what I want to talk to you about today is setting goals. I know you hear all the time that goals are important, and goals, you don't get anywhere without goals, so on and so forth. Well, I once heard that a writing down all of your goals is just a list of future fails without without dedication to your list, without activity, without moving. So that's kind of what we're going to go over today. So the way I was taught to do my list is to sit down and decide what it is you want, where you're going, what you're looking for. I mean, you want to get up tomorrow at 6 a.m., you want to be a millionaire in 12 years, whatever it is, okay? So we're going to write these things down. Now, what you have to understand is there's a lot of different ways people learn. There's a lot of different ways people get into their subconscious and stuff like that. I kind of want to tell you the way I do mine. So I write my list, right? And I've got everything from, what I want to do in the next couple months all the way up through many, many years from now. So the way I start is I write my list. Next to each thing, I actually write a date that I want this to be completed by. Now, this is giving me some sense of urgency, telling me I've got to take action. And a lot of these things, they actually work together. Now, let's say this isn't one of my goals, but let's say that you want to be a millionaire in 5 years. Well, that's a great goal, but how are you going to get there? So maybe your first goal is, instead of tomorrow sleeping until 9 o'clock, maybe tomorrow you get up at 5. When you get up at 5, you do whatever you feel is necessary to work you towards that goal. That's great. So work on that. Anyways, so list, date. Okay? So, like I said, along with that, each goal might have goals preceding it in the line. So now we're gonna we move forward. We've got our list. Now, if you just write something and just leave it, you'll generally forget about it. So what I like to do, and this is kind of time consuming, but I enjoy doing it, is every single morning I get up and I write my next three immediate goals. Well, what this causes me to do is actually looks over all of my goals, but the writing the three is implanting them in my head very first thing in the morning. And believe it or not, this causes me to think about these goals a lot. So I'm not just forgetting and dropping them and leaving them, and I'm working on them. So in my job, I'm very isolated. I'm work by myself most of the time, which in my opinion is a great thing for me because, one, I'm very social, and if I was working with a lot of people, I probably would not be able to get as much work done as I do. On the other side of it also is I enjoy what I do. I get to listen to different talks and speeches and music and whatever I want because there's no one around that I have to okay it with or compare it to. And some of the talks I listen to get a little rough and tough, and I kind of like that. And so that's what I do at my work. So now I've got these goals. I wrote them all down. I put a date next to them, and I've written down the next three goals that are coming up. And in the process of all this, I'm reading my goals, I'm writing them down, it's implanting them in my head. So I'm thinking about this all day. I'm at work, I'm thinking about it. Oh man, I got to call this guy on my break because this is something I need to get into for the next step of my goals. So now I have these. I've been thinking about them all day. Now the last thing I do is I'm not as dedicated to writing them down at night, but I do read over my goals every night before I go to bed. I was once told that if you read over whatever you put into your mind right before you go to bed is what you'll think about when you wake up, and I have found this to be very, very true. So now I have these things, right? Now I'm human, I forget. It's hard to get into a habit of doing this. A lot of times people are rushing in the morning, they've got kids, they've got all these things. So what I've done on top of this is got what's called a dream board. My dream board is put up in my bedroom, it's hanging on the wall, and it has pictures of what I want. And under the pictures, it has the date and what it is. So if it's a weird Let's just say for you, maybe it's $1 million. Well, on your dream board, you put a dollar sign, right? Well, maybe my dream board's black because my whole room is white. So my dream board's black, it stands out. Now on that black dream board, maybe you write in silver Sharpie $1 million and you put the date on it. Now what does this cause me to do? It causes me, because it's in my way every single day, I have to look at it. So I look at it and I see it and I recognize it, and that automatically sparks goals. Let's get them done. And so I get up, I go, I get my goals done. Generally, while I'm making breakfast, I'm reading over these things. I read them out loud because it's important to me. These things are really, really, really want in my life. So this is the way I do my goals. However you decide to do your goals, I strongly suggest that you choose a pattern that is going to cause you to think about these goals all day. And I'm not saying that that's the only thing I think about, but it does pop into my head sporadically throughout the day. I'll be driving home, and so one of my goals is I want to complete a course. It's called the Black Belt in the Six Sigma program. Well, maybe I'll be driving down the road, and up on a sign on my way to work or my way home from work, I see, a Taekwondo toe studio. Well, my brain works kind of weird, and I get to places kind of odd. Well, Taekwondo, they have belts. They have a black belt. Oh, yeah, I'm looking to do this black belt program, and it is something that's truly important to me. Now, there's one other thing with your goals. In my opinion, you have to know your why. Why do you want that $1 million? What is it going to lead you to? I mean, what is $1 million going to do? Why do you want to do that? The Six Sigma program, that does nothing for me to start. But what it does is it teaches me processes that I can use in my job to move forward, to grow, that I can use throughout my life. That's why I want a black belt in the Six Sigma program. Yes, it looks very good on a resume, which is all great, grand, and wonderful. But the reason I want it is it's going to help me grow to meet my next couple goals. So, we're going to go through this real fast, real easy. Set your goals. Figure out your why you want the goals. Write them all down. We're going to put a date next to those goals. Be realistic. Don't say I want to be a millionaire by tomorrow. Could it happen? Absolutely. Tony Robbins made millions of dollars in 24 hours. It's absolutely possible, but it's probably not realistic for where you're at. So after you've written them down, every morning, my way, I rewrite the next 3 goals. As I write them, I say them out loud. I'm looking over all the other ones because I have quite a few goals in my book. Throughout the day, I think about my goals and I try to track where I'm going and what I'm doing and what I need to do next. At the end of the day, I read out loud every single one of my goals because it's very, very important to me. Now, the last thing that I would do is a dream board. Put up the most the most extravagant ones you have. You want to own a yacht? Put a yacht on there. You want to own 1,000 acres in, Montana? Put it on there. Put the most extravagant ones. And you have to be able to see yourself reaching your next goals. Because here's one thing I'll promise you, and I tell you this from experience. You might not see you hitting that $1 million in your head. You might not see it. And guess what? You'll never have it if you don't see it. But maybe you do see yourself getting up at 6 or 7 tomorrow morning. Maybe you do see yourself, doing a side job and making an extra $100. Maybe these are all things that happen. You hit those goals, and guess what? Every time you hit a goal, it is no longer an impossible thing for you. In your mind, I promise you, your mind will tell you, well, that was easy. Why did I think I couldn't do that? Millionaires do not become millionaires because they don't believe they can. Now, they work through the steps, they get there. So this is what we're talking about, is goal setting. Set your goals and dream big. Your big goals, make them big, but figure out how to get there. What's the first step you have to do? You have to get up in the morning. Perfect. So, thank you for your time. If you guys would like to have me speak at any of your events, by all means, get a hold of me in the comments or DM me or whatever you got to do. Once again, I appreciate your time. This is Jeremy. Have a great night. Bye.